Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you once again for joining me. I really appreciate you. So if you're new to this channel, please make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell down below so that you can be notified when I post new content. That would really help me out a lot. So tonight we're going to be talking about 3 former Philadelphia homicide detectives that have been charged with perjury in a case of an exonerated man who spent 25 years in prison. So, in Philadelphia, a grand jury has recommended criminal charges against 3 former homicide detectives, including perjury in 2016 retrial, including perjury in the 2016 retrial of Anthony Wright, who was since exonerated by DNA evidence in a rape and murder of an elderly woman. The Philadelphia District Attorney, Larry Krasner, announced the results of the grand jury investigation at the news conference on Friday, saying the 3 former detectives, Manuel Santiago, Martin Devlin, and Frank, I'm going to probably get this name, Jaszymbeski, oh no, I don't know, closest guess. But they were in the process of turning themselves in on Friday afternoon when they were arrested. They faced various charges, including perjury, swearing false statements during Wright's retrial, and his subsequent civil lawsuit, where he filed a civil lawsuit against them for sending him to prison for 25 years the first time. These charges are an indication that a Philadelphia grand jury, in this case a grand jury, can carefully look at the evidence and can understand the law must be applied equally to people, whether they are in law enforcement or supposed to be served by the law. So the attorney information for the men were not immediately available, and of course, I don't have any pictures of them because they're not going to give us any pictures of them, of course. A spokesman for the city's police union said that the union is providing legal representation for the 3 men, but declined to offer further comment because, hey, why not help out people who are obviously criminals and have done some criminal activity and perjured themselves? Why not help them out to continue to usurp and abuse the system and the people that they're supposed to serve? So, makes sense to me. Wright was convicted back in 1993 of a 1991 rape and killing of a 77-year-old woman named Louise Talley. Right. The attorneys representing Mr. Wright in his appeal that discovered that the DNA evidence decades later that showed another man who has since died while he was in prison for rape and murder had committed the murder. Wright's conviction was overturned, but a former district attorney, Seth Williams, decided to retry him again in 2016 after the man had already been exonerated and found that he was not guilty of any crimes. So they just wanted to say that he was accomplice. So they tried to get him for being an accomplice to murder and rape, even though they had no evidence that he had anything to do with it. He was acquitted in less than an hour by a jury after this information came out. So during the retrial, the issues that the officers' testimony had were they had some issues with their testimony, and that was that they had made clearly coerced and false statements and confessions had come about his trial because they had used people who were in trouble for drugs to set up Mr. Wright to say that he had committed this crime when he had committed no crimes at all. But, however, after his exoneration, the city immediately gave him $9.8 million back in 2018 because he had faced a death penalty at one point in time for it. So they were, wow. So this man spent 25 years of his life imprisoned for no damn reason other than the fact that he was a black man and he was just somebody. No one's going to miss him. Who's going to miss another black man off the street? And that's how the cops and the law enforcement and our law system, our legal system works for people of color. You are guilty, period. Whether you've done something or not, they'll make up a reason to throw you in prison. I'm not saying all cops will make up a reason to throw you in prison, but all cops lie. They train them to lie. If any cop can come on this channel and say that they've never told a lie and never done something illegal while they were serving as a cop, supposedly serving and protecting, they're lying. They won't do it because they know that they're lying. Cops lie. They just do. And they lied so much that a man who was innocent, obviously innocent, on just the words of and testimony of people who had never seen him, just because the cops wanted this guy in prison so bad that they had people write and swear to false statements to make sure that he spent the rest of his life in prison for no reason other than the fact that he just happened to be a black man and they wanted to take one black guy off the street, if not more. And that was the best way to do it. Oh, but it's not over. There are about 4 other cases involving these 3 officers as well for perjury, where these people have been exonerated in their cases as well. Let's not forget that black people are 50% of all black people who end up in court end up exonerated for the crimes, or go to jail, end up exonerated for the crimes that they supposedly committed. Because it turns out that they didn't commit the crimes because crooked cops like this are doing things to make sure that they throw black people in jail. They hate us, but they can't help themselves because, hey, what do you expect from people who were slave catchers? That was slave patrol. That was their job. And they can't help themselves but to lie. So good on the district attorney in this, who chased down the case and decided that this was not going to stand. So the new district attorney got this man's case redone. They exonerated him. They tried to do everything they can to keep this man in prison, even though they knew he was innocent, which reeks of criminality on the district attorney, former district attorney's part, and the Philadelphia Police Department, who they all should be fired immediately because they knew this was happening and they did nothing to stop it. And this isn't the first time these cops have done this. So when they say there's a few bad apples, no. All the bad apples who knew that this was going on, because these cops are not, this is not something that they just decided to start doing. They've been doing it themselves, or all have been on the police force for 25 years. So the amount of time that this man was in prison, that's how long they were cops still. So all their fellow cops knew that they were doing this. They should have had their asses kicked off the force decades ago, and if not, thrown in prison immediately for lying. But that'll never happen because black lives obviously don't matter. Anyway, have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again for joining me. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Give us a thumb up. I really appreciate that a lot. And hit the notification bell as well so that you'll know when I post new content. Have a great evening. Please be safe out there, and by all means, please be the best heathens that you can be. And have a nice evening.